of people and bustling energy of the American airport. The efficiency and pace of everything felt overwhelming, yet exhilarating to her. As soon as she stepped at the airport, shaking, "Hey!" Akko screamed. Why didn't the agency I bought the traveling ticket not tell me it was winter in America? I would have brought some jackets and sweaters. She was shivering and staring at the snow. Akko, sitting on a couch in her friend's living room, her friend Lisa, an African-American woman in her 30s, sat beside her, both of them drinking coffee. Lisa said to her, "So, Akko, you've been in America for what, 6 months now? How is it going? I remember you." I was excited. In fact, overexcited when I got admission into a nursing program in New York. Yes, but girl, nothing could have prepared me for this. Nothing, no. I thought I was ready, We learn English in school back in Kenya, but no one tells you that British English and American English are like two completely different languages. Lisa, oh, I can only imagine. I know it can be tough coming from Africa. What was the biggest surprise for you? Of course, where do I start from? She laughs. Okay, the language thing. It got me right at the airport. So, I landed in New York, right? And I was trying to find the restroom. In Kenya, we say lavatory. So I asked this guy, "Excuse me, where is the lavatory?" He just stares at me like I'm from another planet. And then he says, "Do you mean the restroom?" I was confused, Lisa. I told the guy, "I'm not sleepy. I don't need a place to rest. I just need to ease myself." The guy got more confused. Then a lady walked by. She heard our conversation and she said, "Oh, ma'am, it is called restroom, not lavatory." She smiled and took me to the restroom. Lisa laughs. I know what you mean. Americans have their own version of English, girl. You got to learn fast. Akko said. I did, oh, Lisa. It took me a while. And let me tell you, the word cool, I thought it meant cold, like literally cold. So it's warm today. The look on her face, she had no idea what I was talking about. And I had no idea she was getting much anything. This is America. Everything good is cool. Still laughing. Akko said, "Ha, you are laughing." Then it was not a laughing matter at all. People need to study the country they are traveling to before they embark on their journeys. It is very important. But at first, it was so embarrassing. And don't get me started on other words like jumper. In Kenya, a jumper is a sweater. So one day, I tell someone, "I'm wearing my jumper today." They started laughing because here, a jumper is a dress. I was surprised. Lisa laughs. Lisa, I love this. So what else? Tell me more. How are you handling the cultural differences? Akko's phone rang. It was her mom calling from Nairobi. "Hello, Mama. How are you?" Okay, Ma. Okay, Mama. I will work on it. Bye, Mama. I miss you too. Akko, looking at her phone, said, "When you step out of your country to a foreign land, the expectations back home can be very overwhelming. Some people purposely put their burdens on you. They think we pluck money from trees or pick money from the floor. It is terrible. Whenever I send money home to my parents, their friends, neighbors, some family members just appear from nowhere. Boom, with stories of hardship. Stories like, my daughter gained admission into the university. We don't have money to pay for school fees. Oh, my mother is in the hospital. The hospital demands we pay before they can admit her. Or stories like, somebody fell from a tree or balcony. We have not eaten for 2 days, and so on and so on. I mean, I understand, but I can't help everyone. Lisa, looking at her friend, said, "Are there no provisions by the government for people who are in need?" Akko, my friend, that is another story for another day. I need to rush down to the pharmacy to get some medications for my mom. Her sister is traveling to Kenya tomorrow. Akot got inside the cab. She remembered her first Thanksgiving dinner experience. She was so unprepared. Back home in Kenya, Kenyans don't have a day out of the 365 days of the year dedicated to Thanksgiving. So one day, she was checking her email at work and saw people talking about this thing called Turkey Day. She thought it was some kind of turkey festival or event where people celebrate turkeys or something. And everyone was like, "Are you excited for Thanksgiving?" So she got invited to this Thanksgiving dinner and she was nervous because she had never seen a turkey up close before. Kenyans don't eat turkey. They eat chicken, goat, beef. Yes, but turkey, no. So Akot arrived at the Thanksgiving dinner and there was a giant roasted bird in the middle of the table. And people were passing around dishes she had never heard of. Stuffing, cranberry sauce, mashed potatoes. She didn't even know what to do. So she just smiled and nodded. And then when it was time to eat, everyone was saying what they were thankful for. In her head, she was like, "Am I thankful for surviving this confusion?" She didn't even know what to say, but fumbled through it. She learned then that Thanksgiving is not just about the food. It is about family, togetherness, and gratitude. Later, she got the idea. It was like Kenya Christmas or Easter in Kenya, but with its own American twist. She actually loves it now that she understands it better. But that first time, so Akot got the medication and headed home. Later, Lisa called her to check on her. Akot said, "Thanks, I'm home now," just staring at the wall. Lisa asked why. Akot said, "I miss home. You know, in Kenya, my mom has 2 house helps who help her at the store, and the other runs errands for her. I'm here doing everything by myself, for myself and for other selves." Lisa burst out laughing. "What is other selves?" Akot said, laughing, "Other people. I miss home. People don't understand. I miss my family. I miss my native dishes. I miss the smell of flowers, plants, the festivals." Then Lisa said, "I feel you. I'm from Beaumont and I miss home a lot. I'll go home for Memorial Day holiday and we'll see everyone again," said Lisa. Akot, "Oh, Memorial Day, that was another one. Back in Kenya, we don't have a holiday quite like that. So when I saw everyone going all out, barbecues, parades, parties, I didn't know what it was about. I remember asking someone, 'What are you celebrating today?' They explained that it is to honor the military and fallen soldiers. It was so touching. I didn't expect that level of patriotism." Lisa said, "Yeah, Memorial Day is a big deal here. People really come together to celebrate the history and sacrifices of the military." Akot, "And then there is the sports. Girl, I didn't even realize how serious Americans were about their sports until Memorial Day weekend. Football. American football was everywhere. I thought football was soccer, but no, I was so confused. People were wearing jerseys, cheering, and I was just there not understanding a single rule of the game." Lisa laughing, "That's classic. Americans take their sports so seriously. Football, baseball, basketball, this is like religion for some people." Akot said, "Oh, I learned that real quick. There was much traffic one day and I asked why and they told me there was a game. I didn't understand why a game would cause traffic jams everywhere. Now I know. Sports are a big part of the culture here, but the first time I was completely lost." Lisa said, "So did you end up watching any games?" "Oh yes. I went to a Super Bowl party and that was my experience. At first, I had no idea what was going on, but by the end of the night, I was cheering with everyone else. I didn't even know what I was cheering for, but it was fun." Lisa laughed. "That's the spirit. Sometimes it's less about understanding the game and more about the atmosphere and the people around you. Lots of barbecue, chicken wings, chips." Akot said, "Chicken wings? Let me make you laugh some more." A friend of mine from Sierra Leone went to a Chinese restaurant to buy some chicken wings. She speaks French but no English at all. So she approached this Chinese guy, gave him some money for the wings. The guy looked at the money and asked what it was for. My friend, knowing what she wanted, which was chicken wings, started flapping her arms like a chicken. The guy was confused. She opened her mouth and screamed, "Kukuruku!" like a rooster. That was when the guy understood her and gave her the chicken wings. Lisa laughed. Then there is this food size. Lisa, I thought I knew what to expect, but American portions? Hey, huge. I remember ordering a burger at this diner, thinking it would be a normal meal. They brought out this giant plate with a burger size of my face. Fries piled high. It was like 3 meals in one. I had no idea how people finish that much food. Lisa laughing, oh yeah, portions here are no joke. Akot. And people here travel so much. I like that. Back home, most of the time we travel for weddings, funerals, or special events. But here, people travel just for fun. Weekend getaways, road trips. I had never seen anything like it. I realized that exploring is such a big part of the culture. I have been to some places and still counting. I love it. Lisa said, wow, you've been learning a lot. What would you say to someone back in Nigeria or Africa who is thinking of coming to the US? I got laughing. Oh, I will tell them to learn American English first, understand the slang. It is not just about speaking English. It's about understanding the way people here talk and also learn the culture. Don't come here thinking everything will be the same as back home. Every holiday, every event is different here. But once you embrace it, you will start to enjoy it. Lisa said, that's such a good advice. Anything else they should know? Oh yes, Akot said, be open-minded. You will make mistakes, you will get confused, but don't be afraid to laugh at yourself. America is a huge, diverse country with so much to offer, and it is okay to feel lost sometimes. That is the part of the journey. I'm going to make a video of stories of people's experiences in diaspora. People at home need to know what we are enduring here in a foreign land. Well, above all, I give thanks to God for my journey in life. Lisa said, I love that. Thanks for sharing your story, Akot. I think it is going to help a lot of people watching this on YouTube. Akot smiles. I hope so. It's been a wild ride, but I wouldn't trade this experience for anything. Lisa, well, here is to more adventures and to learning American football. Akot laughs. Oh yes, I'm ready for the next Super Bowl. Lesson learned. If you are planning to travel abroad, just remember, keep an open mind, be ready for surprises, and always ask if you are not sure. The journey might be unpredictable, but it is also unforgettable. Remember, with God, all things are possible. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
If you're enjoying this live, please do well to like, share, and subscribe to encourage us to bring you more amazing and educative contents.
Once upon a time, in the village of Shama, lived a goldsmith named Kojo. He was very good at his work. He would always carefully craft intricate jewelry and ornaments from gold, shaping the precious metal with skill and artistry, often creating pieces that hold deep cultural and personal significance for the villagers. He was loved by the king for his skills. He gave him one of his maids, Ajua, as wife. Kojo loved and cherished Ajua. Years later, they gave birth to a son, a child they had been praying and waiting patiently for. They were so happy. They named him Frempo. Ajua was very happy when she found out she was pregnant. She had become a subject of discussion among the village women. They would whisper about her condition to one another, making her feel uncomfortable. But finally, she would have her baby, and all the whispering would stop. The day she gave birth to Frempo, it was a day like no other. The moment he entered the world, the villagers knew something was amiss. Frempo did not cry as newborns do. His lips remained sealed, and his eyes, though bright, held a strange, unsettling calm. Days turned into weeks, and the silence continued. The villagers began to murmur, their whispers growing louder as Frempo grew older. He was a mute, unable to speak or even make a sound. To the superstitious villagers, this was a bad omen, a sign that Frempo was cursed. As Frempo grew, so did the cruelty of those around him. The other children mocked him, their laughter ringing in his ears as they called him names and pushed him around. Even his own family, ashamed of their son, kept him at a distance. They tried to love him, but fear and shame clouded their hearts. The village elders, believing Frempo's silence to be a curse, urged the king to act. The king, a stern man who ruled with an iron fist, could not afford to let such an omen linger in his kingdom. This boy brings misfortune upon us, he declared. For the so Frempo and his family were cast out of Shama, forced to leave behind the only home they had ever known. They traveled for days through thick forests and across rivers until they came. Frempo's silence was met with curiosity rather than scorn. He worked hard to support his family, his strong hands and quick mind earning him respect. But despite this, he remained an outsider, his heart heavy with the pain of his past. Tongo was a wealthy village. The village was known for its rock formation and caves. Years passed and Frempo grew into a tall, strong young man. His silence had become a part of him, a shield that protected his heart. But deep within, a storm was brewing, a force he could not yet understand. When Frempo turned 21, a great danger loomed on the horizon. A rival tribe known for their ruthlessness had set their sights on Frempo's new village, Tongo. The villagers, though brave, were no match for the approaching enemy. Fear gripped their hearts as they prepared for the inevitable. Frempo watched as the villagers armed themselves with spears and shields, their faces edged with worry. He wanted to help. The warriors stormed the village. Something inside Frempo snapped. A surge of energy, unlike anything he had ever felt, coursed through his veins. Without warning, he opened his mouth and let out a scream that had been building within him for 21 long years. But this was no ordinary scream. It was a sound that resonated with the earth itself, a cry that seemed to shake the heavens. The ground trembled, the air crackled, and then from Frempo's mouth emerged giants, towering beings made of earth and stone, flying over the enemy warriors. With a single gesture, Frempo commanded them, his silent voice now with the most powerful weapon of all. The giant roared and charged forward, their massive footsteps shaking the earth. The enemy, once so confident, now fled in terror as the giant attacked them. The battle was over almost as soon as it began. The giant, under Frempo's command, drove the invaders from the village, leaving behind a trail of destruction. But the village was safe, its people saved by the power of the silent warrior. As the dust settled, the villagers stared in awe at Frempo, who stood in the center of it all, his chest heaving from effort. He was no longer just the mute boy who had lived among them. He was a warrior, a protector, a legend. From that day on, Frempo was revered as the silent warrior of Ghana, the one who had saved the village with the power of his voice. His past, filled with pain and rejection, was now a distant memory, overshadowed by his new-found purpose. Though he still could not speak, Frempo had found his voice in a way no one could ever imagine. In the village of Shama, word traveled swiftly. It was said that in a far-off village, a young man named Frempo had performed an ancient feat, saving an entire community from destruction. This news reached the ears of the king of Shama, who sat on his ornate throne, surrounded by elders. The king, who had once banished Frempo and his family from Shama, listened intently as his trusted messenger recounted the tale. "My king," the messenger began, "Frempo, the boy we cast out so many years ago, has become a warrior of great king's hearts, once hardened by fear and superstition, now ached with regrets. Now he realized the grave mistake he had made." The king rose from his throne, his voice filled with determination. "We must bring Frempo and his family back to Shama," he declared. "We cast him out in fear, but now we must welcome him back with honor. But if he refused, we will attack the village. His mother was my maid. I still have authority over them." The elders exchanged uneasy glances, their wrinkled faces etched with concern. "But my king," one of them spoke hesitantly, "how will Frempo and his family respond?" The king would not listen. Without further delay, the king's orders were carried out. A group of the village's finest warriors were the elders, carrying gifts of gold, livestock, and finely woven clothes. They traveled with a sense of urgency, knowing that the future of Shama depended on their mission. After several days of travel, they arrived at the village where Frempo now lived with Ajua and Kojo. The sight of the warriors and elders bearing gifts and dressed in their finest drew the attention of the villagers. Whispers spread quickly. Why had the men of Shama come? Frempo, who had been walking in the fields, seemed calm. He recognized one of the men of Shama, and the memories of his past, the pain of rejection, came flooding back. Yet peace in his new life. The elder that shook the onlookers. "Frempo," he began, his voice reverent, "we come on behalf of the king of Shama. We come to ask for your forgiveness and to beg you to return to our village as a savior." The elder, who had once urged Frempo's banishment, now spoke, his voice trembling with emotion. Frempo, we're wrong. We acted out of fear and ignorance. The king he honored and celebrated as you deserve." Frempo listened in silence, his heart heavy with the weight of the decision before him. He looked into the eyes of the men who had once cast him out and of their offer. How could he turn his back on the people of Tongo, who took them in with acceptance of who he is? No, he will not go back. He is dedicated to defending. To elders of Shama kept on insisting he went with them as the king had ordered. Frempo refused and became angry at their persistence. The warriors Frempo screamed, and as he did so, giants came out of his mouth and attacked them. Some of them escaped to narrate their ordeal to the king of Shama. Since then, the people of Shama and other neighboring villages never ventured to attack the village of Tongo. In the quiet moment when the village was at peace, Frempo would sit alone, staring at the vast Ghana horizon. He knew that he would never again be an outcast, the one who was cast aside. He was a silent warrior, and his voice, though unheard, would echo through the ages, a legend in the heart of Ghana. Lesson learned: what you cast away will be appreciated by others. What you think is nothing can end up becoming something. God chose the foolish things of the world to shame the wise.
If you're enjoying this live, please do well to like, share, and subscribe to encourage us to bring you more amazing and educative contents. Seihei said, smiling, "I love it. But the house, will we have enough space? We're inviting a lot of people." Derek said, reassuring, "We'll make it work. Granddad's place is huge, and the backyard can fit everyone. Plus, he's got that old barn we can decorate. It'll be perfect." Seihei said, touched, broom jumping. Seihei said, "To your grandfather about using his house for the reception?" Derek said, grinning, "Yeah, he's thrilled. You know how he loves a big family gathering. He's already talking about setting up the backyard and getting the barbecue pit ready." Seihei said, laughing, "Barbecue at a wedding? That's so American. We'll need to have some injera and Doro Wat too, you know." Derek said, teasing of course. "We'll have a food fusion wedding, barbecue, injera, and collard greens. Everyone's gonna be taught too." Derek said, Laughing, he's bringing the coffee ceremony, so at least there'll be balance. Is Maya coming? She asked with a frown on her face. Derek said, I am not sure. Anyway, our wedding is going to be the best wedding ever, Sehe. Everyone will feel the love. Our love. Sehe sages. But Derek always made her feel at home whenever she visited him. But there was one person in his life who made her feel the opposite. His older sister, Maya. From the moment they met, Sehe felt Maya's eyes scanning her, judging her, and forming opinions that irritated Sehe. It wasn't just the way Maya looked at her. There was a heaviness in their interactions, something beneath the surface that made it clear Maya didn't trust her. The unease between them quickly grew, and for Sehe, it was a painful, lingering presence in her relationship with Derek. Maya and Sehe first met at a family dinner. Derek was excited, bringing Sehe to meet his family, and Sehe, dressed in her traditional Habesha chemise, had tried her best to fit in while staying true to her roots. The white flowing dress and gold-embroidered design made her stand out in a room filled with people in casual modern clothing. Sehe had hoped her appearance would be a sign of respect, but the moment she walked in, Maya's sharp eyes locked onto her, immediately analyzing every detail. Sehe nervously adjusted the hem of her dress as she approached Maya. She greeted her with a smile, extending her hand. Sehe said, softly, Hi, it's so nice to finally meet you. Derek talks about you all the time. Maya looked at her hand, hesitating for just a moment before shaking it. Her smile was thin, more out of obligation than warmth. Maya said, a little too coolly. Oh, does he now? Sehe felt the tension instantly, and the evening didn't get any easier. Throughout the night, Sehe noticed how Maya kept glancing at her, watching her every move. When Derek's mother asked Sehe about her life in Ethiopia, Sehe explained proudly about her culture, her upbringing, and her journey to America. She tried to answer every question with grace, even though she felt Maya's eyes boring into her. Maya said, chuckling softly, but loud enough for everyone to hear, Wow, your accent is so strong. It must be hard for people to understand you sometimes. The room went silent. Sehe bothered by the tension she had caused. Derek said that Sehe had tried to brush off, but it weighed on her. The idea that someone, especially Derek's sister, could think she was using him for something as transactional as citizenship cut deep. That evening, after another tense family dinner, Sehe broke down in tears as she and Derek drove home. Sehe said, sobbing, Why doesn't she like me, Derek? What did I do wrong? Derek, his hand resting gently on her knee, sighed deeply. He had always been the peacekeeper in his family, but now he felt torn between the two women he loved most in his life. Derek said, trying to comfort her, You didn't do anything wrong, my love. Maya's just stubborn. She's protective of me, and I think she's worried about things that don't even make sense. Sehe said, wiping her tears, She thinks I'm only with you for papers. She thinks I'm using you. Derek clenched his jaw, anger flaring in his chest. He hated how Maya was making Sehe feel. In his eyes, Sehe was the most genuine, loving person he had ever met. He knew her heart, and he knew that Maya's assumptions couldn't be further from the truth. Derek said, firmly, Maya doesn't know you like I do. Don't let her get in your head. I'll talk to her. This has to stop. But talking to Maya was easier said than done. Every time Derek tried to address the issue, Maya brushed it off, claiming she was just looking out for him. Maya said, defensively, See, I want the best for you. I'm just making sure she's the real deal, Derek. I don't want you getting hurt. Derek said, frustrated, Are you insinuating that Teshe is not the best for me? You don't know her like I do. She loves me, Maya, and she's not using me. You need to stop this idea you have in your head. Your jokes and the comments hurt her. Maya folded her arms, clearly unconvinced. For her, this was more than just about Sehe. It was about her fear of losing her brother to someone she didn't understand. One weekend, so much. The kitchen was filled with the rich aromas of berber spice and injera. Sehe was happy. Cooking was her hobby, hoping to share a piece of her culture with Derek. But a knock on the Maya said, fanning the air. What is that smell? Seihei turned from the stove on this meal, wanting it to be a gesture of love. But Maya's reaction felt like a punch to the gut. Seihei said, softly, it's Doro Wat. It's one of our traditional dishes. Maya bit her lip, trying to hold back the frustration building inside her. She had tried so hard to every attempt felt like it was being shot down. That evening, as they stirred her plate around, barely touching the meal, Derek said, smiling at Seihei, this is amazing, my love. You really outdid yourself. Seihei smiled. The tension finally. Maya said, casually, Tsiha, struggling to pronounce her name. Tsheh await Seihei. She corrected Maya. She is not available for her drama today. Are you going to wear one of those big traditional dresses at the wedding? You know, it's going to look a little outdated, right? Said Maya. Seihei froze. She had always planned to incorporate her Ethiopian culture into the wedding. I want to wear something that represents my culture. Maya rolled her eyes. Clearly, people don't really get all that traditional stuff. That was the last straw. Seihei had tried to keep the peace, to be respectful of Maya's opinions, but now she couldn't hold back her hurt any longer. Seihei got up angrily, charged towards Maya, giving her a loud slap on her face. Why do you hate me so much? I've done nothing but who I am, but I've tried to meet you halfway, and it's never enough. The room went silent. Maya looked taken aback, as if she hadn't expected Seihei to confront her so directly. Derek, standing nearby, stepped in between them, his expression filled with frustration and hurt. Seihei continued angrily. Oh, she was very, very angry. She had reached her breaking point. Sideways comments. Seihei said, voice trembling but firm. I don't know what I did to make you dislike me, but I've had enough. You've made it clear you think I'm here for anything from anyone. I was raised here, and I'm proud of where I come from. Maya stood, arms crossed, but there was a moment of surprise. He said, and about my accent? You make fun of it as if my accent is of my people. You might not understand it, but I wear it with honor. Just because I don't sound like you doesn't mean I'm any less of a person, or that I'm trying to fit into some mold you've created for me. Her hands shook slightly as she spoke, but the words flowed from her heart. Seihei said, and the food you can't seem to handle, the spices, the smells, it's all part of our culture. The natural spice about flavor, Maya. They heal and nourish the body in ways you do have to respect it. Just like I've tried to respect your culture, even when it's been hard. The room fell silent, the weight of Seihei's words hanging in the air. Maya opened her mouth to respond, couldn't find For the first time, she seemed to realize the depth of her hurtful comments. Seihei's eyes were filled with tears, but her voice remained steady. Seihei said, Derek is not you owe, and that is the way you see him. Then the moment he puts his family. But I won't keep quiet while you tear me down for being who I am. With that, Seihei walked out of the room behind a stunned silence. Derek said, looking at Maya, that serves you right. That was the last time she saw Maya. Derek said, Mom is waiting for us. Snapping Seihei out of her flint. She grinned. Off they went to see Derek's mom. Miss Thomas, Derek's mom, walked into the living room, smiling. Have you heard of jumping the broom on your wedding day? Seihei looks puzzled. Jokingly, I've heard of jumping for joy, but jumping the broom, I don't understand. Is this how weddings start here? The room chuckles lightly, but her smile fades as she looks at Derek for clarification. Derek said, playfully nudging her, babe. It's an old African-American tradition. We jump the broom at the end of the ceremony. It's a symbol of starting a new life together. Seihei's brow furrows. She glances at her mother, who is wearing a disapproving expression. Her head tilted slightly as she frowns. Her father, stern yet composed, crosses his arms in silence. Sehay's mother said, with a thick Ethiopian accent, "We do not jump over brooms in Ethiopia."